Hi, I'm Greg.
And I'm Derek. Welcome to Men of the Den, and this is Monday.
Hey everyone, welcome to another week here on the Den. So this week is technically Challenge Week.
And the other guys are apparently going to be doing arts and crafts the rest of the week. However, we felt it was important we do a different topic.
So, this week something has come up very important that we feel like needs to be talked about, specifically in the Canadian media.
This year, at least 6 people have disappeared in Toronto's gay village. The body of Alora Wells was found in a ravine in August, but she was only identified in November.
By way of a quick overview, on April 14th, 2017, 44-year-old Salim Essen went missing from the area of Yonge Street and Bloor Street. On June 26, 2017, 49-year-old Andrew Kinsman went missing from the area of Parliament Street and Winchester Street. At the time, 51 Division was responsible for investigating these cases separately. This morning at approximately 10:25 a.m., police arrested 66-year-old Bruce MacArthur of the City of Toronto. He is self-employed as a landscaper using the company name Artistic Design, and he lives in the Thorncliffe Park area. He has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in relation to Mr. Kinsman and Mr. Essen. We believe he is responsible for the deaths of Mr. Essen and Mr. Kinsman, and we believe he is responsible for the deaths of other men who have yet to be identified. In other words, we believe there are other victims.
All right, as you've seen by the information we just showed you, some big news broke out of Toronto this week. So since 2010, a number of gay men have disappeared from the village in Toronto without a trace. Nobody's known where they've gone. Nobody's known where they've gone. But there's always been a suspicion that there was some foul play that came of these people. And all along the police have said, no, there's no connection between the disappearances. As you've seen by the press conference, 2 that disappeared last year have now been linked, and we think it's important that we bring up this topic and talk about it, not just for the gay community, but for
everybody.
First, anyone that meets people on apps, because that's what this boils down to.
Because there's a lot of apps out there now. There's Tinder, there's Grindr, there's Scissor, there's Growler, there's Scruff, there's Hornet, there's Jack.
We go the other. There's plenty of fish even. There's many different apps that people now meet to date and hook up on.
Even Facebook, people are randomly adding people they find attractive on Facebook.
Absolutely.
And trying to start dating from there.
Absolutely. So what we're going to talk about now is, the question is, in this day and age where people don't generally meet in bars or outside places anymore, how do you try to give yourself a little bit of safety when you go out with these people? So that's what we're going to talk about. So this topic has become very prevalent on Facebook probably in the last week or so. Mm-hmm. And we've seen a number of people on our Facebooks give some really good ideas on what to do, and we're kind of pulling from there and pulling from different resources all over the internet about how we can protect ourselves. So thank you right off the get-go, Mr. Smashy, Twist, Steve. Anyone else you can think of?
There's been a number of people just giving different ideas on what you can do.
And keeping the dialogue going, which is what this video is about. This dialogue, I feel, is very, very, very important right now. So, question is, what can we do to stay safe? So, Derek, why don't you give the first idea on the list?
How about other apps?
Other apps?
Yeah. So we have Companion, we have Friend Finder, Google Maps.
Yes.
This is awesome because Steve comes to visit us about once every weekend or every other weekend, and to make sure that we can track him, he gives us his link to where his phone is, mm-hmm. so we can see if he's stuck anywhere or where exactly he is. Should he call us and have any trouble?
And how exactly does he do that?
He does that through Google Maps. Mm-hmm. You can share your location.
Yes. So this is a great idea. If you have somebody that you trust and you don't mind them knowing where you're at, it's a good idea, especially on a first meetup or even a second meetup, to give somebody your Google GPS location so that they can keep track of you and know that you're safe.
Yeah.
All right, so this
There's
is
also there's also Friend Finder, which is on iPhone, and there's another app called Companion as well, where you can have a buddy system.
So another important aspect is, at least for the first or second meeting, it's a good idea if you can, to meet in public. I mean, of course, that's going to be dependent on what you're meeting up for. But
Meeting up in public is pretty safe. Now, people are afraid to go meet up with another man in public, but before I was out, I was meeting men at Tim Hortons, have a coffee, see how the vibes got there, and made our way from there.
yeah, I mean, not everybody's into that, and that's not necessarily what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But it's a good starting point to kind of get the feel of the person that you're potentially dating / hooking up with.
Yeah.
So meet in a public place. I think is a really good one.
Yeah.
What's next on the list, Eric?
If you're feeling uncomfortable, text a friend to call you if you need an excuse to leave.
I'm actually going to take that even a step further. I'm a firm believer that I'm a firm believer that your own instinct is your best friend.
Yeah.
So if you get in a situation where you feel uncomfortable or something doesn't feel right, follow your instinct and get out of that situation whatever way possible. Text a friend, politely excuse yourself, whatever way you can get out of the situation, get out of there right away. Because ultimately, I'd rather explain to someone why I felt uncomfortable after the fact than have something happen.
That goes into what the next step was. Was do not feel obligated to do what someone wants you to do. Well, sometimes too, if things get you start getting into a thing, but they start pulling out things that you're not into, you don't have to do them.
No, and then the bottom line is find a way to get yourself out of the situation any way you can.
Like even if part of the obligations, even if they pay for dinner, you don't have to go ahead with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just do everything within your limits.
Do everything in your limits.
And one thing I used to do too, like when I was walking home or anything late at night, I always make sure I had somebody to call. So, or at least pretended to be on my phone, pretending to have a conversation the whole time.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I mean, there's a number of ways to protect yourself. The bottom line is use your brain. That's the thing. I mean, this situation in Toronto has affected the gay community, especially in that area, a lot. So, and now knowing ultimately what happened, at least in the last couple of cases, and it boiled down to an app, one of the hookup apps. Now we know. I think we all kind of knew in the back of our heads that we have to be careful, but we all have to be careful. We have to look out for each other. That's the bottom line.
There's another one.
Yes.
Another thing to do, like if you're meeting up with anybody, check with people. See if they know anything about this person.
That's a good one too, because with this day and age, with Facebook and such,
anyone can be a charismatic gentleman online.
You can go online and sometimes find information that might not be otherwise readily available. I mean, granted, we know on the apps that people generally use aliases, but if you can get a real name and somebody legit that you can look up online, try to get as much information as you can. I mean, especially in the gay community, let's be honest, we know the gay community is big, but it's small. So generally, somebody in a community knows somebody else.
They can tell you, like, they'll probably say, oh, yeah, it's that person so good, or they can turn into an, oh, girl.
Yeah, stay away from that.
Oh, girl.
That's a whole lot of crazy.
But, yeah, people have done that with us, and they've ended up in some pretty amazing relationships.
It's true.
Yeah, because people have asked, like, hey, you know this guy, what do you think? And like, oh, man, go for it, you two would work. Yeah. Awesome. And then we also say to people, what do you think of this person?
I mean, yeah, you can get a pretty good indication sometimes from online. I mean, don't let that be obviously your teller if you should start a relationship. But there's generally red flags you can find, and if you can find somebody that knows these people, so watch for the red flags. I think that's a pretty good list at this point. If any of you have any other suggestions, because I know there's tons of ways to protect yourself, please share them in the comments below. We really would like to have as many ideas out there as possible so that if this can be avoided in the future by somebody by using one of these methods, that's fantastic, and that's what this is all about. So if you have any ideas, share them on the video below on YouTube channel, or share them to the Men of the Den Facebook. We love hearing all of your comments. And again, thank you Twist, thank you Smashy, thank you Steve, and anybody else who has shared this information over the past few weeks. Over the past week. That's awesome. Keep sharing, because this is a topic that I'm firm believer should not die right away.
All right, and I hope you guys enjoy the arts and crafts everyone is doing the rest of the week. JD is one hell of a painter, and I'm really hoping he breaks something out there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all the other guys' videos.
Yeah.
They'll be a little lighter hearted than ours, but
Yeah.
as always, like, share, subscribe, and tune in next week to hopefully something a little happier.
Yeah!
Have a great week.